I am 78 years old. I nap because the doctor writes it on every paper now, in large, clear numbers, like it matters more than my name. Words stick harder than memories. I have been married for 40 years. Well, I was married for 40 years.
The chair across from me. It stays empty. It always stays empty. After 40 years of marriage, I learned things I wish I had known in the first 10, or even the first 5. But life doesn't teach you when you're ready. It teaches you when it's already too late to use the lesson properly. When I was younger, I thought marriage was something you build once and then maintain on autopilot. You get married, you work, you provide, you show up physically, and somehow love is supposed to survive on leftovers. I wasn't cruel, I wasn't unfaithful, I wasn't loud or violent or careless in the obvious ways. That's what I told myself, and because of that, I believed I was doing just fine. I spent most of my life being busy. Busy is a very respectable excuse. Busy keeps people from asking deeper questions. Busy keeps you from hearing the small disappointments forming right beside you. In our early years, she used to talk a lot. Not about big things, small things. How her day felt, what she noticed, what worried her, what made her laugh. I listened, but only enough to respond, not enough to understand. There's a difference. I didn't know that then. I thought being present meant being in the same room. I thought silence meant comfort. I thought stability was the same thing as closeness. When you're young, you assume time is generous. You assume tomorrow will always be available to fix what you didn't do today. So when she sighed instead of arguing, I took it as peace. When she stopped asking questions, I took it as maturity. I didn't realize she was slowly learning how to live without my attention. We raised children. We paid bills. We made decisions together. On paper, it looked like a successful life. But paper doesn't record tone. Paper doesn't show pauses. Paper doesn't capture the moments when someone wants to speak and decides not to because it feels pointless. Somewhere along the way, she became quieter, and I became more focused. Focused on work, focused on being reliable, focused on being seen as a good man by everyone except the one person who needed something different from me. I thought love was proven by endurance, by staying, by not leaving. What I learned, much too late, is that love also needs curiosity. It needs noticing. It needs to be renewed, not assumed. After 40 years of marriage, I learned that people don't usually leave all at once. They leave in inches, in moments where they feel unseen, in evenings where conversation dies early, in mornings where they stop expecting warmth. She never made a scene. She never demanded anything dramatic. That almost made it easier for me to ignore what was happening. I mistook her patience for contentment. That was my biggest mistake. The turning point didn't arrive with shouting or betrayal. It arrived quietly, the way real endings usually do. She got sick. Not suddenly. Slowly. The kind of illness that rearranges your life one appointment at a time. I was there. I drove her. I handled logistics. I did everything that looked responsible. But sitting in those hospital rooms, I started noticing things I hadn't before. How little we talked. How much was left unsaid. How she would look at me sometimes, not with anger, but with something heavier. One afternoon, when she was tired and the room was dim, she said something I still hear clearly. She said, "You were always here. I just wish you had been with me." She didn't accuse me. She didn't cry. She just stated it, like a fact she had already accepted. That sentence broke something open in me, but it didn't fix anything. By the time clarity arrived, time was already folding in on itself. We had fewer days ahead than behind, and you can't rush intimacy the way you rush apologies. When she passed, the house didn't change immediately. The change came later, in habits, in reflexes. I would reach for my phone to tell her something small. I would save a thought for later, and then remember there was no later with her anymore. After 40 years of marriage, I learned that love isn't measured in years. It's measured in moments of attention. I learned that being dependable is not the same as being emotionally available. That providing is not the same as sharing. That silence can be neglect wearing polite clothes. I also learned that regret doesn't arrive as a dramatic collapse. It arrives as a long, quiet ache. The kind that sits beside you at night and reviews your life without raising his voice. If you're listening to this and you're still young, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in preaching. People rarely change because someone older warned them. But I will tell you what I wish I had understood. The person you love does not need your leftover energy. They need your presence when you still have something to give. Don't wait for a crisis to become curious about the person sleeping beside you. Don't assume silence means everything is fine. Don't confuse comfort with connection. After 40 years of marriage, I learned that love must be practiced, not preserved. It doesn't survive just because it exists. It survives because it's tended to. I am grateful. I really am. I had a life. I had companionship. I had years many people never get. But gratitude and sorrow can live in the same room. I carry both. Now, at 78, I live with what cannot be fixed. Not because it was impossible, but because I waited too long to understand. Some lessons come only after the test is over. And some love stories don't end badly. They just end quietly, with too many words left unsaid. If this meant something to you, don't thank me. Just notice someone today. Really notice them.